Hi, I'm Dana, and we're drinking out of a different mug to usual. This is the one that I got at the Warner Brothers studio tour in LA. It was pretty sick. But I broke my mug that I stole from Starbucks in 2016 and I've been using ever since. 10 years now. We were going on to 10 years together and it fell. I didn't even bother trying to catch it because I've dropped it loads and it just bounces, but not this time. It shattered into loads of pieces. So I'm having to try to get used to other mugs. I don't like any of them and none of them provide me with the same like gallon of tea that the 2016 Starbucks mug did. So if anybody else stole a mug from Starbucks around that time, I'd pay you quite a lot of money for it. I'm not giving Starbucks anything. But moving on from that, I'm having a day. I've been having a couple of days. I'm about to start my period, so I'm really anxious and quite depressed. But whereas usually my brain would latch on to all the things that are going wrong in my life and the reasons that I'm actually depressed, and then my period starts and I'm like, oh, it wasn't really me, it wasn't my life, it was just that. I don't have that anymore. I don't have that anymore because I've put myself into a much better situation. And so rather than just feeling like shit, I thought I'd go through some of the things that are making me feel better and try and feel a little bit of gratefulness for my life and try and cheer myself up a bit. Because it's a month and a day since I moved and things are a lot better here. Things are so much better. Getting into the actual context of the video, I lived in Liverpool for quite a long time and I moved around a bunch within Liverpool, and then I also lived in Birkenhead at various points. Birkenhead is obviously a town and not a city, but it's also directly right next to a city and it feels like it's just Liverpool over the water. I'm sorry, it does. I know that everyone's like, oh, but you're a wall. They feel pretty much the same. There's not that much of a difference, if I'm honest with you. It's just different sides of the Mersey. And I'm now living on the outskirts of a town in Yorkshire, and there's so many things that I didn't even consider would be a better thing for me until they suddenly are. So I've got a little list and we're gonna go through essentially ways in which moving out of a busy city is actually an autistic accommodation. It actually makes my life a lot easier and a lot nicer. It makes me feel a lot more regulated and it's such a big difference and it's made me feel so much better in so many ways. So let's get into it. I don't know why I'm still doing an intro. So one of the big ones and one of the initial things that made me fall in love with Yorkshire and want to move here was when I went for my little trip to Halifax and I went for my walks. I didn't see anyone, you know? You start off in the town and you see people there because it's a town, and then you break off to wherever you're going, and there might be the odd dog walk or whatever, but when I'm off on my little nature walks, it's pretty rare that I see other people, and I really, really, really love that, because I've always tried to go on walks to fix my mental health, man. Walking past people and trying to figure out, do I make eye contact? Do I smile at them? Do I nod my head? Can they hear how heavily I'm breathing? Can they hear my music? Just walking past people, for me, is so much more fucking stress and anxiety than it should be. Doesn't matter how it should be, does it? I'm still stressed and anxious every time I do it. So being able to go on walks and just I rarely see other people unless I'm going into town or going into places where I know I'm going to see people and I can prepare for it. I don't see them, they're not there. I can go for little walks in the woods and in parks and across fields and do my little stim walks and make noises and sing myself little songs and go and look at birds and look at the moss and I can do whatever the fuck I want because there's no one there to perceive me at all. There's no one there. I can't tell you how many times in Liverpool and Birkenhead I would do something thinking that no one was there to perceive me and then hear someone laughing at me or have someone just straight up shout something at me or otherwise just interrupt what I'm doing and make sure that I know that I am in fact being perceived. There is always someone there is always someone watching, and it fucking sucked, you know? It really made me contain who I am as a person. It really made me try and mask my autism more in just general public, and I just don't have to do it anymore. I can go out and there's no one there. It's lovely. It's so nice. And it's one of those things that I get that when you live in a city or live in a quite condensed town, I get that there's going to be people there. I'm not mad at other people for being there, but also it does suck to be me when that's happening, you know? Just being stood on a hill or being stood on a path somewhere or being stood in a field and looking around and knowing that there is no other fucker that can see me, I'm entirely on my own. It's lovely. And that's sort of a theme, to be honest with you, because just having less people around makes so many things easier. And one of the big ones for me so far has been how much less crowded public transport is. I was very, very used to avoiding certain bus times, avoiding going out at certain times in the day, or knowing that if I do that, if I like, especially when I've gone to like gigs and music events and it's already been a very high stress thing that I've done, getting back on the train to Liverpool from Manchester and having to be absolutely fucking rammed and everyone's crowding in, that kind of thing. Again, I understand that's how it is to live in a city, I get it, that's why I moved. The public transport here is so much quieter. There is nearly, like, every time I've been on public transport here, there has been a seat. And yeah, it runs a bit less. You know, like maybe there's a bus every hour instead of every 15 minutes, but I can find out what times they are and account to that. Like, having it be just less crowded, less people, getting on the bus and turning to look up and being able to just immediately get a seat instead of looking up and having to like scan and try not to make eye contact with someone and not knowing where to sit, and oh, there just aren't any seats, so I'm going to stand over here and oh, now my back's aching and my knees are aching, and every time the bus jolts I feel like I'm actually going to fall over because I'm a very clumsy person and now I'm in someone's way because I'm just stood in the aisle and they need to get off. Like, all that kind of thing makes it so much more stressful for me to get public transport, and that's just not been a thing here. Like, even during like the busier times when there's more people using public transport, it's still not full, it's still not busy, you know? And it's very much a relative thing, I suppose, because I recently had a friend come from the Netherlands and they thought that things were quite busy here, but from what I've had and from what I've experienced, it's a lot less busy and I really enjoy it. And alongside that, again, I said there was going to be a bit of a theme here, because the grocery stores that are here are like half the size of the ones that I've been used to. And like, I suppose to a point that does mean that they have less products, but they also still have everything that I buy and everything I want to eat. So I'm happy with it, you know, like it's still a good selection that I need, but they are so much smaller. They're in like, some of them, like not all of them, but the one that I've been the Asda that I've been going to is in like an old repurposed, like it used to be something else but now it's Asda, so it's way lower ceilings, they've got a different type of lighting, it's just a way more fucking pleasant sensory experience to go shopping there. There's way less people, there's way less sound, like I still don't fucking like shopping. It's still a real challenge to try and figure out what I need to buy that's actually going to make meals, and like the entire process of going and doing a shop is still stressful, but it's a hell of a lot less stressful when, you know, when like you're lost and you need to turn the music off to figure out where you are. I quite often need to like turn my music off and not have any sounds so that I can figure out what the fuck I am doing in a grocery store, and being able to actually do that and not immediately have like music blaring, tills beeping, kids screaming, people talking, like being able to turn off, like not turn off my headphones, but you know, like pause my music and have it actually be fairly quiet so I can focus and figure out what I'm doing is a major game changer that makes it so much less stressful and so much less overwhelming, and it's so much damn easier, you know? And similarly, being done with my shop and going and paying and leaving without it being done with my shop, go and stand in a queue for 15 minutes while people, again, like, I'm not mad at them. I understand that people are people. They're going to talk. There's going to be kids screaming. Like, I'm not mad at any of it. But also it is very stressful and overwhelming for me to experience that. So not having it makes a world of difference. And again, as I said, we're sticking with a theme for a moment. It's just having less neighbours makes things way quieter, you know? Like, I still hear my neighbours going about their lives because we're people living near each other. Like, it's going to happen. But it's the difference of, I have two neighbours to the back of me and one neighbour to the left of me, and sometimes somebody's in the house to the right and sometimes they're not. That's four. I can hear four people going about their lives and existence. Sometimes the woman in the flat over the road like goes out for a ciggy and plays TikTok on full blast, and I can hear that really well. She has like a good phone speaker going on. But five, I can hear five people going about their normal daily lives. They're not noisy people, they're not loud people, there's not like blasting music, like just normal people going about their normal lives. I can hear five of them. Whereas before, I lived in terrace houses predominantly. You can hear three people to the left and you can hear three people to the right, and you can hear the six in front of you, you can hear the six behind you, and there's somebody else coming down the street now and they're fighting with somebody over here. Like, it's been just constant noise, constant stuff going on. And I don't want to like really hate on people, but also living in the type of areas that I've lived in, there's also the parents like screaming abuse at their children and people's dogs barking in the backyard because they haven't been on a walk in the last like fucking, in their entire lives. Like, a lot of the people I lived around had big dogs that they just didn't walk or play with or do anything with. And they barked all the time outside because they're fucking gone, because they're bored as fuck. So moving here, like, people have dogs. Like, my back neighbour has a dog. I heard it. I've seen it a couple of times, I haven't heard from it. I don't know what it sounds like, you know? Like, there is a level of like, it was just normal people living their normal lives, and there was also a level of like, the types of people that they were. I'm sorry, I don't want to sound classist as fuck, because I am very much one of them, but I have a cat, like, he's not sat outside barking. I also, like, play with him and try and make sure that he's entertained and keep him happy and, like, treat him like a sentient being instead of just a fixture, you know? But I was very used to being woken up in the middle of the night or early morning because someone's having a fight outside, someone's having an argument outside, the police are showing up, like, something loud is happening almost directly outside my house, because, again, like, they're all directly right next to each other and they're really fucking small, so if something's happening 3 doors up, it may as well be outside your house. It near enough is, you know? And we're just waking up in a panic and be like, oh my god. And it's so lovely to be here and be waking up to fucking birds, you know? Like, I haven't been woken up by anything happening in the night here. Like, it's quiet and it's lovely, and I can't tell you how much easier it is to regulate yourself when there isn't, like, a load of noise that you absolutely cannot control. And also, when I've talked about this in the past, people have been like, well, you can use earplugs, you know, headphones exist. Fuck off. I accommodate to myself in the ways that I can, but it's still the thing of, like, it's not comfortable wearing earplugs. I don't like feeling them inside my ears. If I wear headphones in my house, I can hear someone shouting my name even though there's no one else fucking here, because it causes, like, such a, like, I hate it. I can't deal with it. But I also can't deal with all of that noise. So just living in a quieter place, in fact, is the accommodation here for me. The big one that I don't want to say I didn't expect it, because I'd been, like, looking into it before I moved here. But when I looked into it, I wasn't expecting that there would be so many more clubs and groups and things to do here that are, like, social meetups between people that aren't centred around, like, drinking or something expensive. Because that's the big thing, is, like, Googling, like, things to do in Liverpool. It costs a fortune. It costs so much money. And, like, I would see, like, the paint and sip groups and the little, like, creative artsy groups, like, making a lamp workshop. And they're, like, 90 quid. Like, I can't afford that, you know? And despite living in, like, a much smaller town than Liverpool is, there's so, like, when I Google, like, town things to do that I'm interested in, so much comes up, and the vast majority of it's £10 or under, if not free. Like, there are so many ways to meet people, and I haven't done any of them yet, because it's still, like, fucking anxiety inducing and terrifying and scary, and you know, like, social things are still very difficult and very scary, but I also have the option, you know, like, I can actually find things to do where I will get to meet people in the local area and talk to them and possibly make a friend or two that I just could not find where I was before. And alongside that point, in my experience, like, I don't want to make too much of a big thing of this, because it varies. People are people. They're going to be nice, they're going to be horrid. Like, people are people, and that's always going to vary. I don't want to make, like, sweeping generalisations, but the current experiences that I have had here, people are, on the whole, a lot more friendly. And as an autistic person that quite often has questions and doesn't know what I'm doing, that makes it a hell of a lot easier. Like, when getting public transport, I've been going just to the, like, ticket bit and being like, I want to go to here and back. How do I do that? And they're happy to explain it to me. They're happy to tell me which platform to get on and off at. They'll print out a little thing for me to take with me so I know which changes are happening where. And it's just a very easy and simple little thing to do, so I can actually get to where I'm going with just that extra little bit of support, so that I know where I'm going and what I'm doing. I'd stopped doing that in Liverpool and Birkenhead, because especially when I first moved there when I was 16, I wanted to go and see all the places where the Beatles had been. So I would go to the main bus station and be like, how do I go to here? And they'd be like, the bus that says that on the front. And I'd be like, okay, and where do I go and get that bus? Type, this one. And it's like, why? I don't expect, like, friendliness and kindness from everyone that's just doing their job. But for, like, the 12 years that I lived there, whenever I needed help, like, if I wasn't travelling, like, directly, like, Liverpool to Manchester, like, if the place that I'm going to isn't the one on the train or the bus, I don't know which one to fucking get. I don't know which number it is. I don't know where to go to get it. I haven't got a fucking clue. And I would try and ask, and I would go and ask, and people acted like I was inconveniencing them. They acted like I just felt like such a fucking bother to these people whose job it was to help me to get where I'm going, you know? And my experience here is that people are really nice and really friendly, and they're really happy to help me get where the fuck I'm going, and they do it with, like, not necessarily, like, loads of kindness, but I don't feel like an inconvenience. I don't feel like I'm bothering them. It just, it's a nothing, you know? Like, it's just the thing that I do to get where I'm going. It's not a whole thing. It's not an inconvenience thing. I don't have to feel bad about it. I don't have to feel stupid. And I very much thought that that was just something for me to get over and it's like a me issue. But it's not. They, like, I don't want to be like, they were making me feel like that. But also, the fact that people here don't make me feel that way when I'm asking those types of questions. And even when it's like I went and got lunch on my own yesterday, which is something I have not done in a very, very long time, because eating in places alone scares me. Going into places that I haven't been to before scares me. Like, the whole thing was quite anxiety inducing. But I went in and I was like, okay, how does this work? Do I just sit at a table? Do you come and take my order? What are we doing? And he explained, and I was like, cool, I'll do what you've just told me. And it just, I've done that in Liverpool before when I've walked into like a new coffee shop that I haven't been to, and I'm like, how does this work? What do you want me to do? Or I've gone in and sat down and they've been like, you're meant to wait for somewhere to sit. Or I've gone in and waited and that like eventually they come over and they're like, why are you waiting? You can just take a seat. Like, I've just experienced people being so blank and drained and like giving off the impression of like, why are you here? Why are you bothering me? What do you want? And it's like, well, it is your job, in fact. Like, I'm sorry, I don't expect like grace and smiles, but you could just do your job without making me feel like I'm inconveniencing you by asking you to do so. That's all I'm asking here, you know? And it's just such a big difference that makes me so much less anxious and makes me feel so much less stupid. Like, so many experiences that I had with just asking questions and not knowing how things worked in bigger cities, and in Liverpool especially, people made me feel like a fucking moron. They made me feel like I'm the stupidest, dumbest person on the entire planet that like shouldn't be allowed out of my house because I'm just such a massive inconvenience to everyone around me that knows how it all works. And I'm the only dickhead that doesn't. And I thought it was me, you know, like I really deeply truly thought it was me and that it was my issue and that they're making me feel that way because that's how it is. I am just a fucking idiot that shouldn't be allowed out of my house because I don't know how anything works. And it doesn't feel that way here. It feels like people are willing to answer a very simple question so that I can also have a nice time. And again, I don't want to make massive generalizations. Like, the first time me and my friend went and got the bus, I was like, oh, can we get 2 returns? And he was like muttering things at us and we were looking back and forth at each other. It turns out you don't do returns here. You either do a single or you do a day pass. He didn't make me feel great. I did feel like a bit of an inconvenience, a little bit silly, a little bit stupid, but we got the tickets and we sat down. I know that for future now, I don't need to make that mistake again. He explained it, you know, even if he did seem a bit pissed off that he had to. But that's also like the only negative experience I've had in a month here, you know? And I also like, I haven't like made any friends, but I do have a few people in the area that are neighbours that I'm like, we say hi to each other, we're aware of each other, we've had conversations, you know, which again shouldn't feel like a big deal. But I spent the first 7 or 8 months that I lived in Birkenhead, literally did not speak to a soul. Like, I would go out shopping, I would go out into the town and get a coffee and things like that. And literally, like, even the people that were serving me would just be like, oh, it's this much. And I'd give them the money and that'd be the interaction. That's all I had people say to me, you know, would be like, that's your amount, that's the total to pay. And like, again, fine, fair enough. But it's an absolute delight that within like the first week that I moved in, I'd had conversations with several neighbours. People walking past me in the morning will be like, oh, good morning. And I'll be like, oh, morning. And like, obviously moving in right before Christmas, people were saying like, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And like, that just did not happen where I lived before for the last 12 years, having moved around to like several different parts of the city, across to Birkenhead and back to the city, across to Birkenhead. I don't recall a single person say good morning to me or like the big issue, people always say Merry Christmas in Liverpool and Birkenhead, to be fair, but like it would just be them, you know. And I did not see them during the time that I was in Birkenhead this last time, where I just had like 7 months of literally not speaking to anybody. And again, it was something that like for a good while I thought it was just me. And then the same friend that came and saw me recently also came and visited me while I was in Birkenhead, and they had the same thing of like trying to have interactions with people that would be normal to them, and people looking at them like, why are you speaking to me? What is this? And I do think it's a bit bizarre and weird, and I'm really glad to not be experiencing that anymore. One that I'm tacking on at the end, because I'm a bit unsure about including it, because I got really fucking lucky with this house. I don't want to be like, it's a big house, because like I'm sitting in my living room and this is my living room and that's like the downstairs isn't the biggest because it's 2 rooms in one. But my bedroom is massive, my bathroom's quite large. This isn't a small space. Like I'm in no way complaining. I'm actively doing the opposite. Like, I also don't want to brag and be like, I have such a big house. But like, it's bigger than most of the places that I've lived in with, it's not, each individual room, like the actual space is bigger than the ones that I've been living in previously, you know, like obviously I was living with people, so there were more bedrooms and more rooms, but the rooms that I have are much larger than I'm used to. And I like debated including this, and part of me is like, well yeah, because we're not in the city anymore, so they're not building to like compress as many people as possible into one small space. But also I was looking at studio flats at one point that were more expensive than this house is in the same area, and I was very nearly going to be in a little studio flat where it would be like my L-shaped couch would have had to like have my, like I very nearly ended up with a significantly smaller space that I would have fucking hated. And I'm so glad that I like held out and waited for this place, because it's fucking perfect for me. But having more space as an autistic person, I can display my special interest, I can make it my space. It's you know, just all of the positives that come with having a bigger space with storage and things like that obviously apply here. But like the combined thing of I am an extremely clumsy person with very limited like awareness of my body and my physical self. So living in smaller spaces, I've been extremely bruised, to be honest with you. Like I already bruise really easily, and then just you move and the kitchen counter's right there and the other kitchen counter's right there, and then there's a wall and then it's the door and then it's the bathroom, and the bathroom's really fucking small and the sink's right there and the toilet's right next to you, and if you move to like 3 inches to the left you're going to be in the bath. And just I was constantly hitting myself on things, walking into things, just generally like hitting stuff because it's all fucking close to me, you know, and it was a nightmare. And I'll give that it did get better when my last housemate moved out, because they had just an insane amount of stuff that they like crowded in everywhere. Like I don't know how they live like that. It's ugh. But I do. I've walked into this fucking breakfast counter several times at this point, especially because like there's a lip, so I keep whacking the fucking corner there. But I do have the space to walk around it if I just fucking walked around it. But just when I'm getting dressed, when I'm showering, when I'm doing the things where like my body needs to move in ways, I'm not hitting things, I'm not whacking, like especially like this bony bit of my wrist and my elbow on both arms, hitting all the time. My knees and my ankles, I was just hitting constantly on stuff. And that's not happening so much here. Like I'm still a clumsy bitch, like don't get me wrong, like I'm still clumsy, I do still walk into things. I dropped my mug, like I said. Like I still like occasionally punch something by accident because I'm just trying to fucking put my cardigan on. But on the whole, it's a hell of a lot easier to not be whacking things when they're not too close to you, you know? But like I said, that was sort of a debatable one, because like I got lucky. I got really lucky, and I'm really fucking glad I'm not in a studio apartment with my cat and all of my stuff. So yeah, that's the video. I probably should have said at the start as well, obviously as always, every autistic person is massively, vastly different. I have friends that like really like living in cities. I've had friends that like I've lived in London and absolutely adored it and want to move back, and I'm like, there is nowhere on this planet that I've enjoyed being in less than London. Like even in Birmingham, when I had a man trying to get me out of my hotel room with a knife, like, to help me out, like he wasn't attacking me with it, but like he had a very large knife trying to prise the door open because it had locked me in. Like even that, more pleasant than the experiences. Like I haven't even had a bad experience in London. Like whenever I've gone to London, it's been for something really fun that's been really nice. I still just fucking hate being in London. Like I hate it. But I also like, I massively understand that for some autistic people, that's the place to be. Like they like the city life, and I don't know why. I can't wrap my own little brain around it. This is all very much from my perspective and how my autism presents, and the things that regulate me and the things that make me feel better and the way that I am as a person. Like I get that it's not for everyone, and that like lots of people would like fucking hate living where I live right now. But for me, and the way my autism is and the way that I exist, it's just been a massive positive change. And I feel like it's the first time in my life that I can actually relax, and not like I'm just like treading water trying to keep my head up, trying desperately to like fucking grab at something and nothing's working. I don't know what to do. I don't know, like it feels like just the first time in my life that I'm in an environment where I'm able to actually relax and settle and not be like so turned on, you know? And I do think there's like a fair amount of different reasons for it, but I think a massive amount of it is the ones that I've listed in this video and gone into quite a lot of context with. And yeah, so that's where we're signing off. I am intending this to be the return to regular content. Pray for me. I don't know why it's been so rough for me to like get back into it, because I do really enjoy doing this, but I don't know, I think it's just been like all the changes, and I don't really like this like background. Like I need to like have a filming situation. I'm not really figuring it out, and like, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll figure it out. I do intend this to be like my actual proper return. Okay, so whoever you can also follow me on Instagram, where I've been sharing loads of pictures of Yorkshire. You can follow me on TikTok, where I've posted like one TikTok in the last like so far this year. You can also find me over on Ko-fi or Patreon. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.